Check, 1, 2. On this edition of Morehead State Today, our first segment, we're joined by Jay Sword, baseball coach at Morehead State University. And Jay, some beautiful weather. Got to play some games last week. Tell us a little bit about how it went last week for the Eagles.
We had a decent week. You know, we went 2-2, and I think I told you last week on the show that I thought this was going to be a big test for us. I knew, obviously, West Virginia playing a team out of the Big East and a BCS school. I thought we played very well against them, able to get the win, and then you go into the weekend, and unfortunately we win 1 and lose 2 against Jacksonville State. And for whatever reason, when Jacksonville State comes here, they just play extremely well. It's one of the few teams I'd rather play on the road, and it seemed like it proved true again this weekend.
You mentioned the big win over West Virginia on Tuesday up in Morgantown, in Charleston, and it's the fact that you got a win last year against them. Kind of have their numbers, but anytime your program could step up in a Big East competition and come away with a win, it has to be good for you and the players.
I think so, and I thought we played really well there. You know, it was kind of a back-and-forth game there for the first half of the game or so, and then, of course, late in the game we ended up taking the lead on a big 2-run home run by Drew Williams. But, we caught the ball well, we threw the ball well, and had some key hits in that game.
And, of course, you come back, as you mentioned, Jacksonville takes 2 out of 3 from you at Sonny Allen Field. Conference-wise, after the first 6 games, you're even. I know after the weekend at Murray, maybe a little disappointed that, as you said, you didn't play as well as home, but you're still even. Things could be worse.
Yeah, we're even. We're in an okay spot. We're not, it's not ideal, but at the same time, we're okay. We have a lot of games left in conference to play. Jacksonville State's going to be one of the best teams in the conferences. We know that. They always are. We played 2 tough teams already, and to be 3-3, that we can live with that. I'd rather be 4-2 in a 1-2 series, but we are where we are, and we'll go in SIUE this weekend, and again, that's another awfully good team.
Before you get there, Tuesday, as we're taping this afternoon, you'll be playing St. Catherine College up at Sonny Allen Field. Pretty good team, to come in and give you a kind of a sort of a midweek game, I guess.
Well, they're going to be really good. This is an NAIA club that has a lot of Division I transfers, a lot of players that could have gone to play Division I, but certain reasons weren't able to from different sides on an eligibility issue. But these guys are going to be good. They run a lot. I think they're 27-11 or 27-14, something like that right now. And seems like every aspect of the game, they've got good numbers.
We took a look about your pitching staff last week, and we'll do that in just a second. But Andrew Deeds, leading you in hitting, came in with a lot of press going into this season after a pretty good season last year, and he's living up to the billing thus far.
He has. I think he's second in the nation in hits, and I think he's in the top 10 in batting average. And he's done everything we asked him to do. He's starting to steal a few bases now for us, and I think that's something we need for him to do. But, we talked about before, he's been such a big part of our program. And, I know it's funny to say when you talk about a guy who's hitting 440, but I still think he's got a big streak left in him.
And, of course, Chase Greenwell comes in to your program, and, he's up there with Deeds hitting. He comes into today 363 and pretty good, newcomer.
Yeah, he's been really good. And, of course, he's playing one of the most important positions on the field at shortstop, and we've been happy with the way he's played defensively also. And, he's going to be a guy that's going to end up pitching for us, too. He's not quite fully healthy to do that yet, but it's just around the corner, so you'll start seeing him on the mound probably within the next couple weeks, and maybe even today, he may get an inning today, depending on how the game goes.
Before the season started, we were talking about some of your newcomers, and one of the people that you said that you would hope would not get overworked, but get a lot of work, would be Mac Duncan, and he's has 8 saves already this part of the season.
Well, we talked about the key was being able to get to him and give him the ball with the lead, and we've been able to do that a few times this year. And there's been other times where he's come in and pitched and wasn't necessarily a safe situation, but you're talking about a 4-run and save the game type deal. And he's been awfully good for us, and he's got that true closer's mentality.
He's got an ERA of .47. He's 1-0 in 13 appearances, 8 saves. He's pitched 19 innings, struck out 20, walked 9. So an opponent's batting only 131 off him, seems like he's the real deal.
He's been awfully good. And the thing about Matt is, even on the days where he doesn't have his best stuff, he believes he's going to get people out. Like I said, that's that closer in him, and he's to point to date, he's done very well.
Any surprises off your pitching staff thus far?
I've been very happy with the back end of our pen. I don't think any of it's a surprise to us. We got a chance to see him in the fall. I think the back end of our pen's been very good. I think Matthew Robertson's done a great job in that long relief type area. The starters have had overall have been decently consistent. Obviously, we still have some room to get better there. So I don't think there's anything a surprise, but I think overall I've been happy, but I still think that we can get better.
Heading into your third OVC series this weekend, what have you been the most happy with?
Well, I think probably our tenacity. We've won a lot of one-run games. We've come from behind quite a few times. I don't feel like this team ever feels like they're out of a game. I think that's probably what I've been the most happy with. I think these guys police themselves very well. And, I think we've just got a good group of hard-nosed character baseball guys. And so I've been happy with that. Obviously, offensively, our numbers have been good. I'd still like a little more consistency there, but I think we're one of the top 20 hitting teams in the nation. So.
You play a lot of games in baseball, and, we talked about this probably before, the fact that you have to put a loss behind you as soon as it's over with. But, after struggling last season, it's good to see some of these kids come out, have good numbers, and, maybe not starting the rebuilding all over, but, starting a trend to see more wins put on the board.
Well, we talked about last year being a year that we just kind of totally forget. And what I mean by that is that it isn't, going into our fifth year, we shouldn't have to be where we are going in our fourth year because we negate last year. We wanted to be where we needed to be in the fifth year. And I think these guys have taken that over. And, we played a very tough schedule. We have a lot of wins to date, and, there's a lot of opportunity in front of us.
Yeah, people don't realize what we've played and what we have left. I mean, one of the top toughest schedules in the nation.
Yeah, going into, of course, these things change, and now that we're getting into conference play, I think our strength of schedule is going to decrease every week. But, going in before conference play, we had played up to the top 40 schedule in the nation, and that's saying a lot.
Georgetown comes to town after the weekend series with SIUE, and of course that's a 3-game set at Edwardsville, Illinois. But Georgetown comes to town on April 10th at 5 o'clock, and then you have a big OVC series with Southeast Missouri State the 13th through the 15th.
We do, and Georgetown's going to be like St. Catherine. Another team's having a great year. In fact, I think those two teams have split their series so far, and then of course we get back to the real season for us, conference play against SEMO, and again, they're overall their record's not great right now, but they are an awfully good hitting club, and they're coming into a conducive park for hitting.
And, of course, there's some big games left at Sonny Allen Field. You got Eastern Kentucky coming to town and Martin coming to town to close the regular season OVC in mid-May, and there's still a lot of baseball left.
There is a lot of baseball left. I think we're, about halfway through our schedule right now, maybe just a little bit over halfway. So we have a lot of games left, a lot of promise in front of us, and I'm just excited to see. I think that we're poised and ready for a big run, and so we'll see if that comes to fruition.
When you're in the middle of the season and you're not playing every day, I mean, you play your midweek game and then your OVC weekend series. What's a typical practice like for you all?
It varies. It kind of depends on how we're playing. And if there's some things that we need to really work on, we'll do that. But, yesterday, because we'll use Wednesday as our travel day, as our off day this week, yesterday was more of an optional type day for the guys. Now, when we do optional, we have that type of club. Everybody comes in. So we set up the machine and we get them their work. And a little more relaxed atmosphere.
I know as a coach, that's one of the things you love to see when you're kind of having the quote-unquote optional that everybody's out there and everybody's wanting to improve their game so the team will improve.
Yeah, I just think, when we throw out optional, we feel pretty confident that the guys that need to come in and get work will, and then the guys who want to stay in sync will do that. And yesterday we had everybody show up, and of course the pitchers all came and kind of just, it was a nice and easy day for them, but they needed to come and throw and do a little bit of short work and had a couple pins and and then we lifted, and then I know everybody got a chance to watch the game last night. So for us, it was a pretty good, relaxed day yesterday.
Yeah, it's sad that those helpless couches just keep on being attacked in Lexington, burnt and everything else. But I have to get one more word out. Good luck against St. Catherine's today in the weekend series. But Joey Votto, you were in the Reds organization a long time before you came back to Morehead State, signed or agreed to a 10-year deal. That locks him up for a long time in Cincinnati. I know as a former Reds coach that's a pretty good move by the Reds.
Oh, man, I tell you, first of all, when I started seeing the reports that it might happen, I was really shocked. And because we know what kind of money he was going to demand and, of course, what kind of money he's reportedly going to get. And for me, what a great move for the Reds, and that tells you what they want to do in the future and what and they're poised to do this year. So, great move for the Reds. Really happy for Joey. Really happy for them. Happy for the whole organization.
I know that college baseball starts, a little bit before pro, but this is the best time of the year if you're a baseball fan because this week at Riverfront, it's always special.
Every day's all. That opening day, I think, is. I don't know if there's a better, so much promise. Everybody's in the hunt at that point, and opening day is just one of those things you just look forward to all year long.
St. Catherine comes to town on Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Then the Eagles will travel to Edwardsville, Illinois for a weekend series. And the next game for the baseball Eagles, Georgetown College on April 10th, 5 o'clock at Sunny Island Field. Jay, always a pleasure. We'll talk to you next week, hopefully.
Thanks, Jace.
Jay Sorg, baseball coach at Morehead State University. We'll come back with more. This is the Eagles Sports Coaches Show. Welcome back to the Eagles Sports Coaches Show. Our second segment today, we're with Brent Erickson, the track and field and cross-country coach. And, Coach, it's getting to the, midway point of your season. How things have been going thus far?
We're doing well. We've had 2 meets so far, and we've had a good start to our season. We opened up at the University of Cincinnati, and we probably couldn't have asked for a better start or a better day, actually. It was just a good experience for us. And this past weekend we got to run at North Carolina State, and you go against North Carolina and Duke and about 50 other schools along the way. So it was a great first 2 meets for us.
I know that running against better competition is always a goal, and you winning national titles in your previous spots, to get better, you have to run against the better athletes.
We really do. We've got to see where we're at too. I mean, we're such a building program right now. We've got to find out exactly where we're at and where we need to go, and I think we're doing that. And I think these kids need to find out exactly where they're at and where they need to go. And I think it's perfect for them to see what level we're going against and what we're trying to accomplish here.
Track and field's so almost separate in a way because it's individuals, but it's also teams. So you have to get better as an individual to help your team. So that's kind of a different mix.
It is, and we tell this to everybody. We have to get better individually to be better as a team, and we can't do that without everybody getting better. And so there is an individual focus there on how do we make each of these kids better, because without that we're not going to be better as a team. And so it's and it's one step at a time at this point.
I don't know, and that's what when you got here, I mean, it's the fact that you had your plan, you knew what you wanted to do with your program, thus you had to relay it to the people, number one, that were here, the people that you were bringing in, and it's a step-by-step process. The fact that you know the goals you want to see from each of them, now they have to work towards that goal, which makes the team better.
We really do, and it's hard to be patient. It's hard for me to be patient. We're coming off a couple national titles as you talked about, and we're used to winning a little bit, and so it's a little bit tough at times to go to meets and realize that you're not going to be the one coming home with the trophy. and so getting these kids some success and getting them faster and better, and so it's a little bit of patience on my part for sure, and understanding on my part as well. Probably we need to probably. I know I could be a little bit more patient, but we're pushing, we're pulling, and I think they want to get better, and I think that's the main thing. They understand what we're doing and how we're doing it, and they've seen the results. They know they're getting better, and you can look at the results from whether they were in high school or whether they were here last year, and they can say, hey, I'm getting better.
I know in the cross country season it just seemed like every time you were reading something on MSUEagles.com, the fact that you'd see ran personal best, and each week they were improving, and each week you see more personal best times. And as a coach, that's what it's all about, because if we're running their best, then you are building a program and you are having a pretty good season.
No question. I think there's a perfect example of that in Holly Manzak. Last year her PR was something like 1911 or something in the 5K, and this weekend she ran a 10K where she ran 2 5Ks back to back, better than she ran her 5K last year. So you're talking about running one 5K on top of another 5K, consecutively basically, and running each of them faster than she ran her 5K last year. And so that's pretty impressive stuff to be able to do that. And so they're getting better. There's no question about that. And certainly we're, again, recruiting as hard as we can, and we've got 5 girls that are going to come in, and their PRs are better than any girl that we have in the program. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to be better than the ones we have, because the ones we have are improving, but certainly there's some light at the end of the tunnel, I think.
Is that one of the biggest challenges since you took over here at Morehead State, the fact that going out and knowing that these young men and ladies are going to be the foundation, and trying to not sell them on that, the fact that you're giving them an opportunity to get a great education here at Morehead State and also continue their athletic careers?
Well, we're a little bit of an unknown entity in the cross country and track and field role, and I think that's certainly one of the things we've got to address and sell. And right now we're selling the fact that of the success I've had in the past, where I've been an Olympic coach, or those kind of things. What we want to sell is how great we are, and we're just not quite there yet. And so. But I think we're getting there, and certainly if we can keep improving like we want to, then eventually we'll be able to say, hey, come join this team because of this and because of all the things we're doing right now.
We talked about the scheduling a little bit ago, but if you take a look on paper, this is by far the toughest schedule that I've ever seen a track and field group go through. I mean, you mentioned Cincinnati and you mentioned Raleigh, and you got the Miami Invitational coming up, Jesse Owens Invitational in Columbus, Ohio, and then you go to Eastern Kentucky, and then the OVC championships being held at Cape Girardeau, and then but after the OVC championships, you're not done with your schedule at all.
We're not. We're going to be going to the Louisville Twilight as well, and we want to give kids a chance to go to regionals. That's our first goal, and hopefully our goal in another year or so will be what kids are we taking to nationals. I think those are the ultimate goals there. But we do have some kids right now that are ranked regionally and have a shot at this thing, and so as long as we keep making the improvements we want to make, we're going to have a chance to do those fun things.
Tell us a little bit about those young men and women that may be ranked.
Well, we've got Anya Martinez is certainly one of those, and this is her first year of doing the 3,000-meter steeplechase. Now, she's been a 17:42 5K runner, and so now we're trying to do the steeplechase, and in each, her first meet, she set a school record, ran 11:18. This past weekend, she ran 11:15, and we just need to. She's more than fast enough to do this thing. We've got to do a little bit more work on the barriers. She hasn't done this before, and the water jump, in particularly, when you do 28 jumps in the middle of a 3,000-meter race, it's a challenge, and so we've got to get a little bit better on the technical parts of that. But so she's exciting to watch, and watching her do the things that she can, and certainly Josh Seitz had he had a poor race at North Carolina State and was right in the mix, and all of a sudden just fell off the map, and so we've got some things to address there. But he has more than enough tools to do things like that. And again, another steeplechaser, and Zach Elliott he's run 30-50 in the 10K, so we expect great things from him. And there's some there are some tools there.
Tell us a little bit about a normal week of practice for your club. And people watching at home and listening at home, what they always ask me is the fact that, how is a practice for this sport or that sport? Track and field, you have so much individual competition. So how do you keep track of everything going on?
Well, on the distance side of things, Sundays are long runs, so these kids are running usually somewhere between 90 minutes and 2 hours. So you're talking about a fairly significant amount of work there. So you're talking about 12 to 18 miles on a Sunday, and so that's a haul. And so if you're a high schooler or just a non-runner, that's going to kind of scare you a little bit. But and then Monday's more of a shorter run, and we do some speed work as well on that day. And then on Tuesday, we've got a hard day, and so we're really dressing their VO2 max on that day, usually with some form of interval work. And Wednesday's a recovery day, and again, Thursday was what we call our aerobic threshold day, and really an AT day for us, typically speaking, at least on the longer end. On the shorter end, 800 runners and stuff, they're going to be doing some speed work as well. And so, and then we got Friday, which is another distance run with some strides. And of course, we're lifting 3 days a week, and then Saturday or Friday's a pre-race day, and then Saturday's race day, and then we start that whole thing all over again. And certainly, when you have so many groups, sprinters are doing a lot different than that. The jumpers are doing different than that. The throwers are doing different than that, and it's a 3-ring circus out there with 21 events. We can't be all we want to be right now. And so, but our focus is, getting people better, and that's what we're trying to do.
I know that you probably, as most coaches, depend on your assistant very much.
I do, and he's doing a great job for us. He's right there with me from morning till night, and he's a worker, and that's. We couldn't have asked anything more from him. He's been an outstanding assistant coach, and can't do it without him. Could use 3 more like him, honestly. And so, that's just part of the game. But he's no question my right-hand man, and can't do it without him.
As you head into the OVC, and I know, as you said, you got a long haul before mid-May and the OVC championships. What are the teams to look for in the OVC race as of right now?
Well, Eastern Illinois is going to pound people, I think. I think there's the numbers game on track and field. Especially on the men's side, they're just going to put 3, 4, 5 guys in each event, and by a battle of attrition, they're going to beat people. Even though Eastern Kentucky's coming off a top 20 cross country season nationally, and Eastern Illinois is going to be, I think, top to bottom. They're the team to beat. On the women's side, it's going to be a little bit more balanced. The conference is actually very strong on the women's sprinting side of things, and we've got a young lady that's coming off a basketball season here, Ashley Henry, that's run 12:34 for us, and she's only about 0.04 of a second off of a school record after only about 2 weeks of practice coming off basketball, but she's still ranked 11th in conference right now, and so that kind of tells you how tough conference is especially in the sprinting events. And so it's really going to be a battle on the women's side of who's up there, and certainly Eastern Illinois again is going to be tough. I think SEMO's probably going to be in the mix there a little bit as well, and there's probably a couple more there that have a shot. The women's battle is going to be much tighter than the men's, I think.
I know that a lot of people are very proud of what you've accomplished thus far, and I know you have bigger aspirations of turning this program around, and we really appreciate your effort and your whole staff and your assistant and these young men and women. They go out and they deserve all the credit they can too, because this is kind of like an unsung sport, track and field.
It is, and I think we want to get our name out there a little bit and have people appreciate how hard these kids work. They're working 7 days a week. There's no off days in the process, and so we appreciate your time, and a little recognition is great.
Brent, always a pleasure. Good luck. We'll talk to you before the OVCs.
Thank you.
Brent Erickson, the track and field coach here at Morehead State University. We'll come back with more. This is Eagle Sports Coaches. Welcome back to the Eagles Sports Coaches Show. We're joined by David Williams, softball coach at Morehead State University. And, Coach, we were talking before we went on, a big weekend for the softball squad.
Yeah, really big weekend. We took 2 out of 3 against Jacksonville State. First time ever Morehead State's run ruled Jacksonville State in a game, and first time since 2008 Morehead's taken a series from Jacksonville State. So really great weekend for us.
How'd you do it? Tell us a little bit about your secret to success.
Well, we've actually been playing a lot better the past week. We lost to Eastern Kentucky last Thursday, but it was a game that we were actually in. We just kind of got beat on some little dink hits over the shortstop, over the third, and we actually hit the ball really well. Just hit it right at people, and felt good about that game. And then we go into Jacksonville State on Saturday, and it was kind of we're in the game. Well, all of a sudden we're up 4-1 in the first game, and then it's 7th inning. We close it out. We get the win. Gives us a lot of confidence to go into game 2. We actually find ourselves down 2-0 in game 2. And then go and score 10 unanswered. Wound up winning by an 8-run run rule. So, really did a lot of things that are going to make us competitive. We found a way to manufacture runs by bunting people over. We stole a couple bases. Actually executed a double steal in which runner stole second, and they went to try to get that runner, and then we stole home with the runner on third. So did a lot of little things right. Found a way to get people on. Found a way to move them across, and kind of kept rolling from there. And once you start hitting the ball and once people get on, it's contagious.
Yeah, you mentioned that, even with the record as it is, it's not that you've been blown out all year. It's the fact that, as you said, you hadn't got the hits when you need them. You might not have made the play, and it seems like this weekend, you got all that paid back to you because you were making the plays. You did close out games, and you got 2 out of the 3 wins.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And one of the things that we've really been preaching over the past week especially is things that we need to concentrate on. We've talked about not closing out games when we've been in games, so we've been concentrating on closing out games. But one of the things we did a really great job of this weekend, and actually all last week too, we hit in clutch situations. 2 outs, runners on base. We found a way to get that hit and get that runner on, get the runs across. We had great at-bats. People would battle at the plate, foul off 5-6 pitches, take it full count, maybe get walked, or even win the at-bat and get a single to get on base. So one of the things we've done really well is step up in those clutch situations and find a way to get that run across and find a way to get on base.
You got 3 players as of right now hitting over 300, and in a team you're hitting 274. We've been around here long enough, me and Matt Shaper, that when you were, a team batting average of 200 was, pretty good. But right now it seems like your girls are getting hot, and, Amber Riddle's leading you 341 average. She also has 8 home runs and 24 RBI. And, being from Round County, I think a lot of people still take a look at the box scores and stuff to see how she's doing, and she's performed pretty well for you.
She is. One of the things she's done very well is she's been an offensive catalyst for us. She starts a lot of things, but she also has been very good about battling at the plate. She's become a more complete hitter. She's taken a lot of pitches to right field because that's where people are trying to throw her now. And then with that, she's also not chasing pitches. She's been walked quite a few times, and while the box scores may say intentionally walked only a handful of times, there's a lot more people pitching around her, and she's getting walks because of that, because they don't want to throw to her.
Who else may be coming around or maybe had a slow start that's starting to hit the ball now?
Stephanie Etter. Real hot this past weekend, really been picking it up a lot. She's over 300 now. And really our goal is to have a team batting average of 300. And we have several players in our lineup that are capable of doing that. But a lot of people are really starting to swing the bat well. Kayla Ashbrook had a phenomenal weekend for us. I think she had 7 hits on the weekend. Anna Summer had, I think, 6 hits just on Saturday. So we've got a lot of people that are really starting to come around, really starting to hit the ball. And obviously, once you start doing that and you gain more confidence, like I said a minute ago, it's contagious. Everybody's going to be on board with it. And we'd really like to get that average up around 300 as a team. But the more players we can get up over 300, the better.
Tell us a little bit about your pitching staff. How have they made the transition from early in the season to now?
Probably our 2 main people that we've been throwing, Katie Post and Jamie Wickham, they've done a tremendous job as far as getting ahead in counts, not walking people. Where we really got hurt early in the year is we were giving up walks and we were getting behind in counts. And now that we're getting ahead, we're giving up less walks. We're doing a lot better. We're getting quality outs. Defense is much more settled down. We're not really having to worry about those pressure situations with people in scoring position. And one of the things that the pitchers did really well this weekend against Jacksonville State, they had some people in scoring position, second and third, maybe 1 out, 2 outs, and they found a way to get out of the inning without giving up a run. And I think that's probably an area where they've gotten stronger at, just that mental aspect of it, and knowing that they can compete and get ahead of the batter, and our defense will play behind them and get them outs.
You know, that's a big key. If you're a pitcher on the mound and you think you have to strike out everyone, you don't, unless, you know, you're a great fireballer. But if you have confidence that if someone is on base, if you're going to let them hit it and, you know, they're going to ground out or fly out or, you know, that does so much more for your person that's pitching.
Oh, definitely. And I think that's one thing that they've gotten a little more comfortable with. I know Katie Post had great success at the junior college level and had a ton of strikeouts. And, you know, one thing that she's gotten better about is hitting her spots. She's getting some strikeouts, but she's also getting some good ground outs and then the pop outs we need. And they're in timely situations. So I'm really pleased with the progress the pitching staff has made. And just the mental aspect of it has been a great improvement for them.
Of course, you step out of league action coming up on Wednesday. Dayton comes to town for a doubleheader, 3 and 5. You know, Dayton's a pretty tough program in softball.
They're not bad. Been up and down over the past few years. Just looking at it, I think, you know, I think it's a pretty favorable matchup. I think that they do some things well, but we do some things well. So, you know, it's really going to come down to who executes their game plan the best. And really the biggest thing that we've been trying to preach all year is we just take care of ourselves. We don't need to worry about anybody else.
Of course, you jump back in, SIUE coming up this weekend. Tell us a little bit about SIUE.
You know, it's kind of funny. You look at them on paper, and as far as the win total, it's kind of like us. You know, they've struggled a little bit here and there, but they're in every game. One thing that they do that is probably going to be a little different that I noticed, they try to manufacture runs a little bit the same way we do. They're bunting a lot. They're stealing bases a lot. I think that they're probably going to use a little bit more team speed to try to wreak havoc on the bases and get the runs across. They're basically working one pitcher right now. They've got one girl that's thrown a significant number of innings, and she throws the majority of their games. So I think if we can get to her and we can start to get some runs and start to get some hits, that will open up the whole game for us.
SIUE this weekend at Edwardsville, Illinois, a 3-game series Friday and Saturday. Eagles will come back home on Tuesday to take on Butler for a doubleheader, and then Miami of Ohio on Thursday. So it doesn't get any easier. I mean, you're going to get some games in, and hopefully the weather holds off. And as a coach, I think that's what you want to do. You want to get to play every day.
At this point in the season, nobody really wants to practice. You know, you want to play games, and really at this point, playing games is what we need to be doing. We need that repetition. We need to see the live pitching. Our pitchers need to see the batters. We need to be playing games. And obviously, the more success we have, the more confidence we have, and as we build into the later part of the OVC schedule, that's going to be really important.
And, of course, one of the bigger games on your schedule the rest of the season is April 24th. You go to Lexington to face Kentucky. A lot of people always talk about, you know, Kentucky sports when the Morehead State either travels to Kentucky or, like in baseball, they've come here before. In softball, I guess they've come here before. But I know as a coach, it's another game on the schedule, but in a recruiting-wise, it probably helps you that you have the good teams on your schedule.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I mean, it's obviously an SEC team, and that's top-tier conference in softball. So when you look at that and you look at that game coming up, obviously we want to go there and we want to put on a good show and do the best we can. So at this point, you know, it's kind of 3 weeks away, so –
long way down.
Yeah, it seems like a long way away, but I guess it's really not. But we've got a lot of games in between there that we need to focus on, and hopefully those games give us the confidence we need when we go into Kentucky and we play well there.
OVC tournament is the 5th through the 9th, the 9th through the 12th of May. Between now and then, what would you like to see out of your ball club?
I'd like to see us to continue the momentum that we've built over the past week, and I'd like to see us do very well throughout the OVC schedule from here on out. And obviously, we want to put ourselves in a position to be in the OVC tournament. And then when we're there, obviously, we want to try to make a run and do the best job we can and hopefully get that automatic bid. But, you know, the way we played this past weekend, if we play like that every day, we're going to be a tough team to beat.
You know, well, I think I asked Brent in the track and field right before you got here, and you might have even heard the question. People always kind of intrigued at how practices go. Tell us a little bit about, you know, a normal week. I mean, even with the games, how do you – I know that you still get some practice time in.
Yeah, I wouldn't say practice changes too much just because of games. What may change, we may not do as much running, as much throwing, things like that. But really it's all about repetition. We want to get as many reps in as we can. We want to field as many ground balls as we can. We want to get as many swings in as we can. But at the same time, we're going to work on some situational things. A lot of times you may gear it towards the team you're playing. If it's a team that does a lot of bunting, you may want to practice your bunt coverages a little bit more, getting rid of the ball a little quicker, those types of things. You know, some things just might want to make an adjustment on something you saw from the previous game, just to make sure that you don't make a mistake the next game in the same situation. So really it doesn't change a whole lot. It's still about that repetition and getting ready and making sure that you're on top of things. But you also do a little bit of teaching here and there. But once you get in the season, you really don't do too much teaching in practice. It's more of a repetition, and then you point things out during the course of a game, and you teach that way.
Coach, always a pleasure. Great win in the series against Jacksonville. Of course, the Eagles hosting Dayton on Wednesday. That's April 4th if you're watching on the Internet. 3 and 5 o'clock. Want to see a big crowd out there to support the Eagles.
Oh, we'd love to see a big crowd out there.
David Williams, softball coach here at Morehead State University. We'll come back with more. This is the Eagles Sports. Welcome back to the Eagles Sports Coaches Show, and we're joined by a special guest here this afternoon, this evening, or even if you're watching on the Internet, maybe in the morning. As Tom Hodges say, we have a big audience in Iceland and stuff, so we were kind of trying to approach that audience today.
Like Sweden, too. Iceland,
yeah.
Germany, wherever.
Darian Westerfield, the Assistant Athletic Director for External Affairs, has joined us now, and it's a fun time if you're an Eagle fan because, you know, you got basketball over with, football is getting ready to start their spring practice, spring game coming up, track and field's going on, and, you know, it's been a very successful sports season for the Eagles. Not done yet.
No, absolutely not, Jason. We're always in a frantic mode during basketball season. It always feels like there's a basketball game going on. But during the spring sports season, we also kind of take a deep breath and enjoy the wonderful weather we're having this spring. But the baseball team has seen a good increase in attendance based upon the fact that we've had more sunshine early in the season. And softball's getting around to having some good folks come out and support David and his team as well.
I know that coming up, besides softball and baseball regular season on campus on April 29th?
Yeah, April 29th is our spring football game. I know Coach Matt Ballard and his crew is gearing up for the spring season. They start practice up and have been getting after it a little bit starting this week. But that will accumulate or come together on the 29th. It'll be a 2 o'clock kick time, and as you're aware, but our fans might not be aware, this will be the first year that I'm aware of that we're actually going to broadcast that spring football game, so you can listen in on WIVY, and will be simulcast on MSPR that day on 2 o'clock on Sunday the 29th. It'll be a unique opportunity to hear from Coach Ballard and a lot of our coaches, our offensive and defensive coordinators, as what they're looking for and what they expect from a spring practice and what they look for to build upon that going into the fall.
And, of course, probably as well as it'll be on the Internet. It'll be on MSUEagles.com. If you're outside the area, as they call
Iceland, Sweden, yeah, they can listen to it as well.
You just have to dial it up on the Internet or however they do that if you're in Iceland. I don't know if you're freezing, if you got gloves on. But tell us a little bit, what's the plans for the summer? I know that people may think, well, after May they pack it all in and they bring it back out in August, but your part more is summertime, getting out meeting and greeting and making sure that there's some funds for these coaches to use.
Absolutely right. Again, as my job is external affairs, the biggest thing for us is to try to put a strategic plan in place to increase those revenue streams. Looking at group ticket sales, trying to get in front of some folks, youth football leagues and that sort of thing. But the biggest thing on our plate this year will probably be really trying to work to increase our Eagle Excellence Fund, which is our fundraising. It's our annual fund that we do every year. As you know, the state budget is not going up for higher education, but yet the costs for doing business at the Division I level in an athletic department always does. I'll give you the example of our baseball program. For example, the OVC this year has went to a 3-game set where we play on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. In the past, that's been a Saturday and Sunday with a doubleheader being played on Saturday. Well, with us playing an extra day, that means we have to go a day earlier. That means we have more hotel rooms. It means we have more food. And just by doing some basic math, which the Lord blessed me with basic math, we looked at our budget this year, and just for our baseball travel budget, that increased by $20,000. Well, that $20,000 has got to come from somewhere, and it sure is not coming from Frankfort in the state of Kentucky. So therefore, it is more vital for us each year to continue to increase our revenue through philanthropic giving and to make people educated on those needs of running a Division I athletic program. So this summer, we're really going to try to get some information into our alumni's hands, into our supporters' hands to say, hey, we need you to continue to support us financially. We need you to write checks to support each of our programs and to support our general operating budget. And that's going to be vital for us moving forward to be successful in the OVC.
I know people have their favorite sport. Now, they can probably call you, talk to you, decide to see what sport they would like to give, or they could give a general check to you, or a check, not a blank check with him, but just a check.
Yeah.
The fact that,
I like blank checks.
and
They're good.
And then they would be able to see which is the neediest
Absolutely.
at that time.
You know, we don't restrict where we want our gifts to go. If we have a former student athlete who was a football player who wants to give back and support our football program, they can do that. If an individual just wants to go to the greater good, they can give back to our general fund, which is our Eagle Excellence general account. Because again, we have bills to pay, and those are never going down. So we don't, want people not to pick what they have a passion for. Again, we ask our alums to support their sports, but the biggest thing is just support. It doesn't matter which way it comes from, and as you know, I like to say my job is to beg, borrow, and steal, but that comes from, giving our coaches the most revenue and to be successful.
And I know that the big event this summer is a golf tournament. People don't realize how much work is put into it. Also, it's a great opportunity to come out because there are a lot of alumni that comes back. Also, you get a chance to play with some coaches, whether they're good or bad golfers.
That's right. Again, the golf outing is set for June the 9th, and each year it's a great opportunity for our fan base to come and interact with our coaching staff, and like you said, just enjoy the day and enjoy golf. Now, some of our coaches can golf. Other ones can drive golf carts. Either way, they're multi-talented, and again, they're very happy to interact with our fan base on that afternoon.
Well, probably some play golf, some drive golf carts, and the people who may play golf should be driving golf carts.
I am in that category. I will hit the ball, go into the woods, throw it out, and then hit the ball again, find it, and then again say, hey, you need a drink? Cause,
everybody's turned around, you're kicking the ball down the fairway.
It's a foot wedge.
Okay.
Foot wedge.
Okay, I can understand that. Let's talk a little bit about one thing that really impressed people when they got into Johnson Arena this year, the video boards, the new addition to Johnson Arena. A lot of work went into that with yourself and, your staff, the fact that, people think, well, wow, we got video boards, but there's a lot of work behind those video boards.
The interesting thing about those video boards where we have a lot of ability and we have a lot of ability to do things, but we don't know always how to do those things. And so the course of the year really came along. I had a great video crew, a bunch of our students on campus that you saw as cameramen. They got better at the angles, the shots, the things that they were doing, not only for our video board itself, but also for the streaming so people could watch our basketball games. Just like putting together a television production, that thing takes a little bit of time to get used to. But we're really looking forward to the future of that video board. We have the capacity to put commercials on there, as you saw for our, the academic achievement as well as the job fair that our career services put together. So again, we're looking forward to using that in the future and not trying to break it. That was what we tried to accomplish this year, which we did. It was a good goal to have, but we are excited about what the opportunities are for us to use that forward next season.
And of course, if people saw it, if it's like anything with MSU athletics, if you like the fact that you listen to the Eagle Sports Network, you see the shows here, if you want to get involved that way, if you own a business and would like to advertise, Darian's the man to talk to, and all they have to do is pick up the phone or give you an email to start the conversation off.
That's absolutely right. Like I said, the easiest way to get a hold of me is just calling me directly, and that's my phone number here is 606-783-9052. The number again, 606-783-9052. We have a lot of excitement. A lot of our advertisers that were with us last year are excited to find ways to bring more attention to their business through the video board itself, and we're excited to be able to do that for them.
And this is a time of year, I know people probably think I'm crazy, the fact that your season will end next month in May, but this is a time that you and me and everyone else starts planning for next year, because this is a time, if you're a business, to get on the ground level of the ESN or the video boards or whatever you want to sponsor.
Absolutely.
Here at Morehead State.
I mean, I think if anybody fan-wise came to our game, they got to see the Kentucky Lottery disco drop. It's a Plinko game. Everybody knows what it is now. The ability to do those things, the three-card money, find the hidden basketball or whatnot, all that stuff is available for us. Who doesn't know about our, Buffalo Wild Wings chicken dance? It's the first media timeout of the second half.
Well, if you can get Matt Shaber to quit getting on the table and doing that during the timeout.
Well, our assistant sports information director gets very excited when he hears the chicken dance itself, and he's been he's trained people how to do it, and we appreciate his willingness to go out and, he's back in the cheerleading room teaching people the finer arts of the chicken dance.
Now,
It's
if we
good.
can get Bill Mayo out there.
Coach Mayo,
He could do the chicken.
the thing that worries
By
me about
himself.
Coach Mayo is just, his level of intensity is already higher than most everyone else. So you put that on top of him, and he goes, to the next level, which is above anybody's even comprehension of what that level is.
So my thing right now is, I think next year when they play the chicken dance, soon to be Hall of Famer ESN announcer Chuck Mraz ought to be at midcourt. That ought to be the goal of the ESN, to have Chuck Mraz at midcourt next year doing the chicken dance.
I don't think the crowd could be more entertained than anyone doing the chicken dance more than Chuck Mraz.
I think
I agree.
That's our goal right now. Get him out there. Maybe get Ian Corbin, our producer back at the ESN Network, who's always, he's a legend, and get him out
That's
there.
right. Ian, the man behind the myth, the legend,
Yes.
Ian needs to be out there and be visible.
So we can get that and Hayes and Jeff Ray and everyone from the flagship station to come over. We'll do the chicken dance. We'll tape it, and that could be maybe on the video boards from all time to the chicken dance.
As I've heard them say, that would be gold.
Yes,
That would be gold.
That would be gold. Once again, tell us the dates on the golf tournament, and if they need to get a hold of you, if they'd like to have more information on that.
Golf tournament's on June 9th. This is Saturday. And, again, they can reach me at 606-783-9052.
And, of course, any other information you'd like to see on the show or on the sports, you can go to msueagles.com. It's updated very often, with sporting updates. And, of course, you can find information about the ESN as well.
The coach's show today will be on it later this afternoon.
Yep. Darian, always a pleasure. That's going to do it for this edition of the Eagles Sports Coaches Show. I'd like to thank Jay Sorg, our first guest. Brent Erickson also joined us talking about track and field. Also David Williams with softball, and the man, the myth, the legend, Darian Westerfield, Assistant Athletic Director for External Affairs here at Morehead State University. For everyone involved with the Eagles Sports Coaches Show, and back at the flagship station, Ian Corbin turning the dials. I'm Jason Blanton. Until next time, so long, everyone.